The final round of checks presented for post-hurricane repairs. The Port Authority examining the changing faces of business. And scores of young people enrolled in the Ministry of Youth summer program.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening all. I'm Shashina Rolfe-Arkeson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping the news this evening, the Ministry of Works wrapping up the distribution of checks to residents whose homes are still awaiting repairs. Many structures are still reeling from the recent hurricanes, and this morning, more than 300 homeowners were given checks presenting the final phase of the ministry's home repair assistance program. Italia Hall was there.
The line wrapped around some portions of the National Insurance Building as residents anxiously waited to receive their checks. Some 330 persons were on the list to receive checks, which are valued up to $4,000. Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Works, Iram Lewis, says this speaks to the government's commitment to assist the people of Grand Bahama.
We are giving out the final distribution of checks for the hurricane, and of course the tornado was a part of the hurricane experience. So we hope today to give all of these checks out, and we hope that we believe that it will go a long way, not solving all of the problem, but alleviating some of the issues we have with leaks to the various homes.
Now, Lewis says he does not see this program continuing because he thinks that the government cannot sustain it, adding that is important for residents who receive checks to use the funds wisely and make the necessary repairs as soon as possible.
Use it for the purpose for which it was given. Repair your roof. Make sure that it is done to code. If you have any concern or question about the contractor, come to us. We can verify whether or not they are qualified to do the work.
Member of Parliament for Marco City, Michael Pintard, was also on hand for the check distribution. He says quite a few persons from Marco City received checks in the first distribution.
In this particular set of checks is about 38 residents, households from Marco City. We have continued from a constituency level to help a number of families, and so we're encouraging residents to certainly speak with their members of parliament, but also speak with their church groups, because a number of church groups who we have partnered with continue to help families. There are also several philanthropic groups as well as companies that are assisting employees whose homes are still leaking.
These residents say the checks will go a long way.
They're working speedily as we go. You know, everything is working, everybody is calm, everybody is saying they're grateful, they're thankful.
It's very good, you know, because they suffer a lot from the hurricane and whatnot.
I had a lot of damages, but, you know, somebody do out my pocket. I feel all right that they issuing out, you know, funds that people really could do things.
I feel good about it, I mean, because it's a help.
Most importantly, part is my roof. That's what I need to deal with.
In total, 973 checks were distributed. Reporting for ZNS Network News, I'm Italia Hall.
The Grand Bahama Port Authority holding its third annual Small Business Fair and Expo at the Pelican Bay Resort. That was today under the theme, The Changing Faces of Business. Tonight, as Sabrina Brown tells us, it was another opportunity for business owners to recharge and chart the way forward for their establishments.
The Grand Bahama Port Authority pulling out all the stops once again in an effort to grow the small business sector. President Ian Roll reassuring local business owners of the port's commitment to providing them with the tools they need to succeed in business.
The vision behind this was to ensure that we impart some sort of knowledge or insightfulness to our licensees and to the residents of Grand Bahama. And we wanted to make sure that when you leave this conference, you actually take something away from it.
Minister of State for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Kwesi Thompson, says the government has made provisions in its 2018-2019 budget to increase direct financing to micro, small, and medium enterprises through a $25 million allocation to be used over a 5-year period.
This will be used for microloans, small business loans, grants, and grantee facilities through the commercial banking sector. And you can rest assured that I will do all I can to ensure that Grand Bahama gets its fair share out of this $25 million.
He says the government is in the process of establishing a small business development center, which is expected to complement the work the port is doing on the island.
The first SPDC will officially be rolled out in very short order. And very soon we will also have a director appointed for Grand Bahama. We anticipate that the University of the Bahamas, the Grand Bahama Port Authority, and the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce will play an integral role in the initial setup of the SPDC model here in Grand Bahama.
The minister notes that the local university will house the development center and serve as the main avenue for market research.
If there's a business owner that wants to go into business, we should be able to provide them with information about the success of different types of business. For example, someone may say, I want to get involved in a restaurant. Well, we should be able to say to them how many restaurants we have already, how successful those restaurants are, whether you have success in Bahamian restaurants, whether you have success in Chinese restaurants. We should be able to have that information so that before you get into the business, you will have the necessary information to judge your success.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
President of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, Mick Holding, also addressing the Business Expo. He says SMEs are vital to economies around the world as they are responsible for driving innovation and competition.
In the UK, for example, SMEs account for 99.3% of private sector businesses and contribute £1.6 trillion, or 47% of private sector turnover. Similarly, in the European Union, SMEs account for 99% of all businesses. In Canada, similarly, 89% of the total workforce is in MSEs, and in the United States, SMEs account for 99% of businesses and over 50% of the workforce.
Now, vendors displaying their goods and services at the Business Fair and Expo commended the Grand Bahama Port Authority for staging the event annually.
It gives it a lot of exposure. A lot of people know about Baja Beach, but exactly what does Baja Beach do and how can it assist me? I believe that certification means more money. And so, venues like this seek to educate the Bahamian populace.
This is our second year doing the event. We do the staging. We also bring some of our fine products.
We're still an up-and-coming growing business, so it's a great chance not only to get ourselves out there, but like I said, to interact with potential business partners and wherever could come out about from it. So.
The Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture making a significant investment in the lives of many young people on Grand Bahama. 150 students were selected and assigned to work and assigned to various organizations involved in the ministry's annual summer employment program. An orientation was held this morning at the Foster B. Pastina Center. Italia Hall was there.
Scores of young people filled the room and listened attentively to the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, the Honorable Michael Pintard, as he gave them some words of wisdom. The program will last for some 4 weeks and the salary will be based on whether the employees have basic qualifications, BJCs, BGCSEs, or is in college. The minister told the group that this is now a critical point of their lives.
The beauty of working in areas, even though it might not be the area that is your primary choice for career, is that it exposes you to additional options. It is important in a tough economy in the Bahamas and even internationally to have options, because sometimes your primary goal and plan does not unfold in the way that you desire at the time you desire, and it is useful to have varied skills to make a transition into another area that would sustain you until you are able to do the thing that is your passion.
He says now is the time for them to think about what they will be known for.
In your family, at your job, in your university, you want to be the go-to person. What is it that people will go to you for? What is it that you are so good that when they think they need this thing done, your name comes up. Now, I'm not asking you to get depressed if nobody comes to you for much, but I am saying that you do have the capacity to be the go-to person. There are some folks on their job, if you want an Excel spreadsheet created, that's who you go to.
And his final words of advice: to pour the best of themselves into the organization that they work for.
It is not just about us providing an opportunity for you. Far from it. It's about us being able to get from you the gifts and talents that God has given you so that you could help improve this island and this country.
The Youth Summer Employment Program will begin on Monday, July 2nd and end on July 27th. Reporting for ZNS Network News, I'm Natalia Hall.
You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Stay with us. There's more news right after the break.